Hello. Um, AFC East standings. Did AFC North? Took AFC East now. Um, this is gonna be probably easier than the AFC North because I think the thing with the AFC North is that everyone in that division is kind of good in their own degree. But also there's a lot of uncertain things. The Deshaun situation with the Browns, um, the offense, and really the defense for the Steelers. How well Lamar's gonna play on with Baltimore. Uh, the Bengals. I mean, they're a good team. They're a very good team, but we don't really know how well that defense is gonna play, and then we don't know how great this O line is gonna be. So I don't know if they're gonna be like top notch. While they could probably make a run, I don't think they're gonna come in as this team that lost like 2 games in the season. Where maybe the Bills could. I've not looked at the schedule or anything, but I know the Bills got a tough one. They got a tough schedule, so um. But yeah, I'm glad I waited a day to do AFC standings because the Patriots have traded away N'Keal Harry to the Bears for a seventh round pick. I don't know if that's necessarily a steal for the Bears, but I feel like it kind of is considering N'Keal Harry. Well, he didn't put up a crazy. What was he picked at? I just want to know where, because I thought he was picked early on. He was a first round pick, I think. Yeah, in the 2019, he was a first round pick, and now they're getting a seventh round pick out of him. So, a steal. That's all I got. But it's not necessarily a steal. It's not like N'Keal Harry was very good, but it puts someone behind. It kind of gives them wide receiver 3 because you got Darnell Mooney as your wide receiver 1 at this point. Uh, and you got Byron Pringle there, who I don't know whether N'Keal Harry will be the 2 or 3 there, but I guess we'll find out. It'll probably be N'Keal Harry is the wide receiver 3, and I don't. And obviously, he's not very good, but it's a little it's a fine guy. It's a fine receiver to have, you know. Like I don't know. Um, it's not like he was just fine for them. I don't know how many yards N'Keal Harry put up. I'll look though real quick. I don't know how many yards he put up, but I know it was not much. It was not that many. Yeah, it was 200. He was a very bad 12 receptions. Why did he get so little? He was really just that bad? Yeah, he didn't play all games, but uh, either way, it's not like he's some crazy guy. Pretty bad stats. Pretty bad on play, on field, but maybe the Bears can use him as like a 3, because it's not like the Patriots receiver room is very good. It's actually kind of bad. We'll get into that with the Patriots when I get to the Patriots. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna do the Bills first because they're the easiest one to do. Um, yeah, the Bills contender on the AFC, probably one of the. They're kind of multiple contenders on the AFC side, but probably the biggest one on the AFC side. Um, I already had them going 4-0 in the games I predicted, but we'll get to those because it's in a different video. Um, so they have a pretty hard schedule though. They have week 1 versus the Rams, which could have been last year's Super Bowl matchup, ironically enough, and it could be this year's Super Bowl matchup as well. Um, but yeah, these are two very good teams. Bills, they played before. I don't think they played before the Bills and Rams because I don't remember any type of game. That'd be a crazy game. That would be a crazy game though. But the Bills just like constant. Yeah, they have a tough schedule. They have a fine schedule later on, but early on, these first 6 weeks, they could legit like win 1 or 2 games, and I wouldn't be too surprised. I mean, they won't. They'll win, 4 again, maybe. I could win all of them. They could win all of them. They could lose all of them, and I wouldn't be too surprised. But anyway, well, I'd be surprised if they went 0-6 in the first 6 weeks, but that's not the point here. But yeah, Bills Rams. So one thing that Stafford isn't like he's not bad. Obviously, no one thinks he's bad at this point. I don't think. Obviously, he was thrown into a good situation, but he's still such a good quarterback, dude. I think that the problem here is that he's facing an extremely good secondary. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, their corner duo is very good. I forget their name, Tremaine Edmonds, and the other one. I don't know if the other one's good. I don't remember the other one is. I always forget names. I don't really know why. Tre'Davious White. I was thinking of Tremaine Edmonds on the line. Whatever. Oh yeah, the rookie. Khair Elam. I remember that. Anyway, they got Tre'Davious White, and Tre'Davious White is a stud. So, he's a stud. He was very good last year. Did he make the Pro Bowl? I don't know if he made the Pro Bowl, but he probably made the Pro Bowl. But like, they have probably the best ball hawk secondary in terms of safeties. They probably have the best ball hawking safety duo in the league. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer both just know how to trace the ball. Like, they're incredibly good. They both had multiple interceptions last year. I think they were both top 5 in interceptions. Maybe. I think. But it was crazy. So yeah, I don't know how well Stafford's gonna play versus a crazy elite secondary like that. Especially if Khair Elam ends up being good. But I'm not sure because it might take. I know Tre'Davious White is coming off some type of injury, right? What injury? What injury? What was the injury? Will he be back? Tre'Davious White's return. Okay, so he'll be back. Wait. I'm gonna take a little pause. Seems like he will not be back for a minute. Okay. That's all I need to know. Okay, so he could return, but likelihood of it is kind of low, and if he is, it won't be 100%. So you're gonna have to really rely on a rookie Khair Elam, or a not 100% Tre'Davious White. So basically, you're gonna rely on your safety duo, which isn't a bad thing. It's really not, but I don't know how good this O line's gonna like. I don't know how much the Rams O line's gonna hurt losing Andrew Whitworth, but Whitworth is a stud. So it might hurt, but it's not like I don't know. I don't think the Bills' pass rush is very good. You really just got Von Miller, and Von Miller's progressively getting older. He's still gonna be great this year, but there's only so much he can do alone. With also, it depends on the Rams and how they go about the Odell situation. If they get Odell back, I don't think they will at this point. But I don't know if they necessarily need him. They have Allen Robinson and Cooper Kupp, who could both who both put up 1,000-yard seasons. Cup having next to a 2,000-yard season. Allen Robinson didn't have one last year, but the year before he did. Their wide receiver 3 is, I don't remember. I don't remember who their wide receiver 3 is. Van Jefferson. Yeah. Because that was like the thing last year, is that Odell was going to have to compete with Van Jefferson, and then he didn't have to compete really at all. But Van Jefferson's a pretty solid wide receiver 3 as well. So, I don't know. It's not like the Rams secondary is like elite, though. I actually just don't know who they're. Like, you got Ramsey, obviously. Like, obviously he is very elite, but it's the best in position. But the safeties, the cornerback 2. I don't know who the 2 is there. Who's the cornerback 2 there? Because obviously you got Ramsey. It's Troy Hill. I don't know who that is. Not gonna lie. But yeah, the safety duo not very good. Troy Hill. Stats are pretty ugly, and he's old. So you're really gonna have to rely on Ramsey here just to cover Diggs, and then you're leaving not necessarily the most deep receiving core in the Bills, but it's not like Gabe Davis is bad, and I mean, don't overrate him because the Chiefs came last year, but he's a pretty solid 2. So even if Diggs gets locked up, which I don't think that's gonna happen, but even if Diggs does get locked up, you'll still have Gabe Davis, and I don't know who's gonna cover them on the Rams, because Ramsey is obviously great. He can't cover the entire field, but okay, it's just gonna be high scoring. It's 2 very good defenses. It's 2 very good offenses. This is really a 50-50 game. I think just because the Bills have a great safety duo, but the Rams also have a very good cornerback 1, but their safety duo is pretty bad, and their cornerback 2 is questionable because I don't know who that dude is, Troy Hill. So I'm not really gonna say anything about him, but it's questionable for sure. And it's not like I don't know how good the Bills O line is, because I think the O line was like had a little boost from Josh Allen being Josh Allen, as in they don't have to block necessarily as long because this man has the mobility of a god. That's the best comparison I got. He's one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the league. Definitely a dual threat, so it helps the O-line. It doesn't have to be quite as good. But versus Aaron Donald and Bobby Wagner, they're really going to struggle to run the game ball. It's not, and like neither one of these teams have great running backs, though. It's like this would not be a run game, okay? Neither team will run the ball because they both have bad running backs. Cam Akers, I'm imagining, is still the Rams running back, because Sony Michel is gone. Cam Akers, yeah, and Darrell Henderson. But Cam Akers really wasn't that good last year. He wasn't bad, but he was not good. He was not good. So yeah, I think that it's just gonna be a pass game, and versus a ball hogging secondary, they're not gonna be able to just throw the ball downfield like the Cup. So you're gonna have to play this more short game, short passing, medium passing. You're not gonna be able to throw the ball deep versus Poyer and Hyde. You're not. So you're really gonna have to run this shorter game. While I think the Bills can push the ball down the field faster, which might help them. I don't know if it necessarily matters. I mean, obviously this is a great matchup week 1, but if it comes down to the Rams having to score in 30 seconds versus the Bills having to score in 30 seconds, I think that's where I would take the Bills. and that's obviously not how I can really judge this, but it's really the best way I've got right now. um, just because I really like these games. This is a matchup. It's a 50-50 game. It could go either way. You got the Super Bowl champs versus the Bills, who are contenders. You got two contenders facing off week one. So my only concern would be like the Bills lost week one last year to a pretty mid team, but I don't know if they repeat that. Um, Titans Bills week two at the Bills. Oh, but it is at home. The Rams game is at home. Nah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean that game's 50-50. Um, I maybe favor the Bills though because as previously mentioned, it's not like because you got to deal with Josh Allen running the ball. Well, obviously, you know, you don't really have to worry about Devin Singletary and what's his name, the rookie James Cook running the ball. You still got to worry about Allen. So not sure, but we'll see. Titans Bills. So my thing with this game is that the Bills are probably definitely the better team, but I don't. We did see this matchup last year, didn't we? Didn't we? And the Titans did win. I do want to acknowledge that, and it does matter, but yeah, that's what I thought. I was pretty sure they played. I didn't know who won though. But the Titans did win last year, but now they don't really have that. Like they got freak that rookie. That's kind of sounding bad, but not gonna say he's bad. Treylon Burks. Burks has just been out of shape at camp, but I mean camp's hard, so I'm not gonna say the dude's bad because I literally have never seen this guy play on an NFL field. No one has. So, um, but I think they're gonna struggle to pass the ball. This is gonna be the Bills secondary, which is progressively gonna get better because Jadavius White's constantly gonna improve because he's coming back from injury. Kyer Elam, he's gonna constantly get better, assuming he's good. He's just gonna continue getting better with experience. But Von Miller is definitely gonna help that run defense. But I feel like here, okay, let me think. Bills have a hard schedule. I mean, they could lose a lot of these games, but they could also win them. I think that Derrick Henry is going to run all over them, but I also think that Josh Allen, ironically enough, is going to run all over the Titans. And I think, like, when it comes down to crunch time, I think I would take Josh Allen and the Bills, especially at home, over the Titans, just because I think that the Bills' passing game is obviously much better, and obviously the Titans' run game is much better. But if it comes down to it, I would much rather rely on a passing offense than a running offense. Especially because it's not like Devin Singletary just doesn't exist. It's just, he's not very good. And it's also like Treylon Burks doesn't exist, but they also got Robert Woods. So it's like, but it's just Tannehill. Like, Tannehill's not that good. And while the Titans' pass rush could be very promising here, it's could be hard to get to Josh Allen. You're going to force bad decisions, and you don't really have that top level corner that while your pass rush may be good and you're able to force them out of the pocket, you may force them to make a bad decision, but who's gonna pick off that ball? Who's gonna pick it off? Um, I don't think they have that elite corner or elite safety, that's gonna be able to stop Josh Allen from, like, you can excuse a couple bad decisions. Um, so yeah, Bills Titans, not Bills Titans. Um, Bills Dolphins week 3. Very interesting because this is probably going to be a cool matchup, I guess. I know Tyreek does really well versus the Bills. They haven't really been able to cover him, but that was also with Mahomes. Now you got Tua, and no one really knows how good Tua is. I don't think Tua was that bad last year, but he wasn't really that good either. I think here, the Bills, I think, popped them last year, right? Dolphins. Yeah, Bills popped them there, and Bills popped them there. And yeah, I mean, the Bills destroyed them twice. I mean, so, but, but, um, Tua now has Waddle in his second year, so he's just gonna be better, and Tyreek to work with, and he's actually gonna be able to push the ball downfield, and not 100% healthy. Tre'Davious White, it's really gonna hurt, and the O line may be bad, but it's not like the Bills' pass rush is elite. So, while it's like Tua turn the ball over, yeah, he can just play these short balls to Tyreek and let Tyreek handle them. Like, he really does not have to do much here. I think, and it's at home. I just don't think that. I don't know if Tua can keep up, but I also like. I don't know if the Bills can force Tua to have make a bad decision. Like, obviously Tua's been behind a bad O line for his whole career, and now the O line might actually be decent. I'm not saying it's good. They added one guy, and one. I think they added two guys actually. But correct? Am I lying when I say that? They added Armstead, and who's very very good, and I guess Cedric Wilson. Did I see that? Okay, I didn't know that. And Connor Williams is that who I'm thinking of? No, well, looks like it. Looks who I was thinking of. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of, but I had no idea how good this guy is. But we look at the roster. I should probably looking at the rosters more, but I think that I'm sorry, I got distracted kind of, but I think that Javon Holland is very good. I kind of forgot about this guy, but he's very promising. I don't know if he's very good, but promising at the very least. I don't know if this pass rush will necessarily force Josh Allen out of the pocket. I think Josh Allen in the pocket. I mean, okay, honestly, Josh Allen out of the pocket might be even better than Josh Allen in the pocket, genuinely. But I click on him. But I think that I don't know that this is necessarily a high scoring game. I think here, while yeah, obviously Josh Allen's better than Tua, and my idea of these high scoring games go to the better quarterback and receiver, which when we're talking receiving core as a whole, if we're including tight end, then it's definitely Dolphins. Probably. I would take Tyreek, Waddle, and Gesicki over Diggs, Davis, and Dawson Knox for sure. But I think you also have to get that quarterback situation where I don't know if Tua knows how to put up 25, 30 points versus a very good defense. And he's going to have to put up a lot of points to deal with Josh Allen. But I don't know that this is necessarily the highest scoring game we've ever seen, because you got a very good corner in Xavier Howard on the Dolphins. You got very good corner in Tre'Davious White, a very good safety duo on the Bills. You got a decent safety in Javon Holland, assuming he develops. So I don't know that this is the highest scoring game, which I think if it's a lower scoring game, honestly, I could take the Dolphins in an upset. While I not mean to do that. Okay, I think I fixed it. While I don't necessarily think that the Dolphins are a better team, it's at home. If they probably trade with the Bills, probably. When do they play them again? Week 15. Interesting. I think the Bills have got to lose a game somewhere. I mean, they're not going to go 17-0. I don't think. They actually could, but they also can play a lot of good teams. And I feel like this might be either you've gone 2 weeks in a row facing these two good teams. Now you got to face the Dolphins. You know, I don't know that, like, you have, this is your first good secondary. Not necessarily, it's like not that good of a secondary, but it's not like Byron Jones, Xavier Howard's like a top 5 corner duo or anything like that. But I'm thinking, because this game is really hard to predict, because I don't know that, I don't think Tua can keep up in a high scoring game, but I think Tua can keep up in a lower scoring game. And at home, where the Miami run game might actually be decent, where um hmm, where it's your first game versus Tyreek on the Dolphins. It's also still early on the season, so you don't really have too much to see film wise and see, hey, you gotta watch out for blank, 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 because you've only seen 2 weeks of it, you know? It's not gonna be like a one dimensional offense yet. Um, but isn't their new coach a, who is the Dolphins' new coach? I don't remember who they hired. Mike. Oh, I forgot about him. God, I don't know how I forgot about him. Um, okay, Mike McDaniel. I think he can come up with something new. Like, cause you saw what he did with the 49ers, right? Like, I don't see why they cannot pull off the quote unquote upset here. It's at home. Who's the Dolphins' first 2 weeks? Patriots, Ravens. Interesting. I don't see why they can't come up with like one win here. You know, I don't see it. I don't know if they get swept this year, and they might, but the Bills are gonna have to, you know, it's a little check here, where I have beating the Ravens after. I think it might be a high scoring game, and I'll take Allen and Diggs over Lamar and Bateman. Here it's Bills Steelers. Bills are going to score a lot of points, and I don't know that Trubisky slash Pickett can match it. It's not like the secondary is very good. Pass rush might be good. We don't know. They're not going to run the ball like at all. But we might be able to run the ball decently. But I don't think it's enough. I just don't see it. Bills Chiefs. Okay, I guess I should probably talk about this a little bit more because it's a completely different division. But so I don't know if anyone noticed the last one. But the thing with the Bills Ravens matchup, I was talking about how it's going to be a higher scoring game. And I think in those higher scoring games, the Bills really like that. Especially versus an offense like the Ravens, where it's like, I don't know that the Bills can necessarily deal with it, but it's still Allen Diggs over Bateman and Lamar. Like, I don't know if you're the most scared of Rashad Bateman and Lamar when you have Allen and Diggs. Like, I think that's just a better duo to have in a higher scoring game. So, in here, it's just a better team here. Like, obviously Steelers won last year, but it was just by a score, and it's not like it was not convincing. It was not like a pretty game. I think if the Steelers can play good, like have good cornerback play here, it's probably a lower scoring game. But I'm not gonna trust the Steelers secondary to cover Allen and Diggs. Bills Chiefs. Um, Obviously we've seen this matchup multiple times now. Um, and the Chiefs do constantly come out on top, especially at home. But that was with Tyreek and with a Honey Badger who could not allow a touchdown every play. Well, now the Bills might be scoring a touchdown every drive because that Chiefs defense very not good. Chiefs did draft that corner out of Clemson, Andrew Booth. Did he go there? Is that where Booth went? He went to the Vikings. Which one went to the Chiefs? A rookie corner went to the Chiefs. I just don't remember which one. Trent McDuffie, yeah, the one out of Washington. Okay. That's good and all, but it's still not a good secondary. And you lost your best safety. You did get Justin Reed, who came from Houston. It was pretty solid in Houston. Very good safety potentially, but he's way younger. But I think even if he matches what Honey Badger was doing, the Chiefs are not going to be able to, and the Chiefs are not going to be able to score in 13 seconds there. Well, I mean, no, they're just not. Like, even last year, they threw a slant route to Tyreek, and Tyreek took it all the way. They can't do that anymore. So, I'm not sure that I necessarily think that Mahomes and Juju can keep up with Allen and Diggs, because I don't think they have necessarily the greatest guy to cover Diggs now. I mean, they didn't really before either, but that's why the games went to 30 plus points. And that's why the Chiefs barely pulled it out. It's because in these higher scoring games, the Chiefs might also be favored most of the time. But versus Allen and them, I don't know that the pass rush is quite good enough. I don't know. Like, I think the games were close with Tyreek, so you take away Tyreek, and is the game still really that close? I'm not sure. And you also lost, like, Byron Pringle. You also lost, who was the other guy they lost? They kept Hardman. They lost, Gordon, I think. But it's not like Gordon was really that good anyway. But they may get they did get Juju, but it's not like Juju's also unproven. So at this point in time, I would take the Bills. and they have a bye week into the Packers. It's gonna be a very good game again. You know, another great game. But the Bills are coming off a bye week. They already have multiple good wins. Packers, very good team. Uh, Obviously they lost Devontae Adams, but Aaron Rodgers is very good in the regular season. You can't just think that it was because Devontae that he was very good, because ultimately um he's gonna make hold on, I gotta think of the name. It's the rookie receiver. It's not Christian Watkins. That was the one that went to the Chiefs. I keep confusing the two. It's not right. Right? Christian Watson, same guy. You know who I'm talking about. That's the guy that with the Packers. No, see, I was just talking about how I confuse the two every time. Um, he's gonna make Christian Watkins look elite, probably. But other than that, high scoring game again. But the difference here is that Packers have very good secondary, and I don't I don't know. At this point, the Bills would probably be okay though, secondary wise. Like Trent McDuffie, not Trent McDuffie. What? I was just talking about him, but Tre'Davious White's gonna be back, probably pretty healthy. Um, Kyrie Long's gonna be used to the system. Like, you're gonna have good quarterback play from both teams. Um, hmm. But maybe I would take the Packers. Is it the Packers bye week? When do the Packers have a bye week? I'm assuming it's not week 7. Unless it be some crazy coincidence. They got one at week 14. Dang. I mean, the Packers look to be on a very hot streak, though, considering they're playing a lot of bad teams, though. But I think this is where you gotta say that you're gonna. It's another high scoring game where I would just rather trust the Josh Allen Diggs core over Aaron Rodgers and, well, what I like, Alan Lazard's fine. Christian Watson is probably fine. Hmm. It's at Bills though, which is definitely important. I think I would take Allen and the Bills here, just because it's like it's gonna be tough. Have we seen Packers Bills? I don't remember. Have we seen them in like 2020? Wait, I don't think we did. We see them last year? I did not play last year. No, they did. No, they did. Oh, that was preseason. Yeah, exactly. They played in 2020? When is the last time they played? Because I'm not looking behind. Yeah, I don't care about 2018. The Bills were bad then. Okay, so we haven't really seen this yet, but I think Aaron Rodgers is used to these higher scoring games, and so is Josh Allen, though. Like, both these guys know how to put up a lot of points with, subpar receivers. Well, Aaron Rodgers knows how to do that because he's played with subpar receivers before, and he's kind of made receivers great. Um, but Allen has never had a bad receiver, but he doesn't have a bad receiving core yet, so he doesn't have to deal with that. He doesn't need to know how to deal with that because he has Diggs. Um, I think I'll take it at home though, just because it is at home. I think if it was Packers at home, I would probably take them. But I've always said that home field advantage is kind of overrated. But it's not overrated. It's just like, you know, I don't think, like here, I don't think this game's determined just because it's at home. I don't think a 60-40 game turns into a 50-50 or 40-60 just because they're at home. This is what I'm more so talking about. I think ultimately a team is a team, whether it be at home or away. Your team doesn't change then. Well, yeah, your momentum, you get your crowd hyped up, but I always don't think it matters too much. But here, especially the Bills' home field advantage, like the Bills Mafia, kind of go crazy. Um, Bills Jets, I don't see why they would lose this game. I really don't. Yeah, I don't know why the Bills would lose this game. Ultimately, they're just the better team. Uh, Maybe Zach Wilson turns into like some elite quarterback this year, but I doubt it. And it's a lot like Josh Allen's been here before. He's played the Chiefs multiple times. He's played who else has he played? That gave him a freak ton of points. Not really many people actually. It's just primarily the Chiefs. But either way, um, this is like the Jets are just not quite there talent wise. I just don't think they're quite there. Vikings Bills. So Bills are obviously favored here. By quite a lot. Hmm. I'm thinking about taking the Vikings. I'm thinking. Because I'm thinking. The Vikings defense is trash though. Well, okay, it was bad last year. But they did add Zadarius Smith. They did draft Trent McDuffie. So it's gonna be better. Hmm. But I think that the problem arises where the Bills are a contender. The Vikings aren't really a contender. And you gotta take that into account. The Vikings might put up a fight here. It might be like 30-34, but I think that 34 is gonna go to the Bills. I don't know that I see them losing. Like, I don't know that I see Allen putting up less than 30 points here, and I don't know that Kirk Cousins can necessarily match that versus an elite secondary like that. So yeah, this has the Bills at 10-1. They face the Rams. They face the Chiefs. They face the Packers, and I have them losing to Miami. That's crazy. It's more so than it's a division game. Anything can happen. I mean, and it's the NFL. Anything can happen. I mean, they literally lost to the Jaguars last year in a game that was 6-9. Like who predicts that? No one expects that. Even if you want to pick the Jaguars over them, fine, but you're not gonna expect the game to be 6-9. Like it's more so anything can happen. But you know, here we are. The Lions versus the Bills. See, this was really interesting because I skipped the Browns for Bills. Hold on. Um, I think by then Deshaun will be back. So, but I when I was doing the Browns predictions, I had Deshaun coming back around the bye week. Therefore, this is going to be his second week back, and he's going to have to face Tre'Davious White. He's going to have to face Micah Hyde. He's going to have to face Jordan Poyer. And, you know, He's not necessarily quite ready. He's not quite ready. I think he starts getting his groove back in this game, but I don't know that he's necessarily 100% what we saw before Deshaun. But so in that case, well, I think Deshaun probably can keep the game competitive. I just want to take a consistent Josh Allen, an MVP candidate, Josh Allen, over Deshaun. That's his second week playing in, next to 2 years, or like a year and a half, I think. So, um, Bills Lions. Bills are the better team. There's no reason they should lose this game, but yeah, there's just kind of no reason they should lose this game. Hmm. I know that. Where is Detroit? I know like where it is. Yeah, that's what I thought. I knew it was wait, how did I know? No, I saw that. You had versus Packers. That's crazy. I want to know when the game was. November 6th. Interesting. So, one thing I will acknowledge that when playing in New England, um, they did lose that game. Uh, oh, it's probably not gonna be able to do that, but yeah. Where are the Patriots located? Is it Boston still? I don't actually know exactly where they are. Patriots state. Yeah, interesting. So where do they play? It's in Massachusetts. That's what I was looking for. So, um, one thing I will acknowledge that last year when playing in Massachusetts versus the Patriots, I think it was in Massachusetts at New England, right? Didn't go where I wanted to. I'm assuming it was in. How do I find out where this was? Patriots really 9-4. That's kind of crazy. I didn't actually know they were doing that well compared to the Bills, who were, you know, 2 games behind. Anyway, um, I don't know. I don't feel like kind of figure. I really don't feel like figuring it out. But um, so last time, this might be bad weather, which is a problem for the Bills because they can't really pass quite as well as they want to. They need to run the ball, and they don't have a really consistent running game. While the Lions are on the uprise, um, but I don't think this is really the biggest concern for the Bills. I don't know how bad the weather's gonna be. It might be cold, but it's still only November. Like, the weather can't be that bad. It's not gonna be like freezing temps. I doubt. Maybe it will. I don't know how not Massachusetts. I don't know how Detroit weather is. I don't know how is Michigan weather. Yeah, it doesn't get that incredibly cold, but it's because the Patriots are more up north, so where it is gonna get colder. It's gonna be later. It's gonna be colder. So this is where I'm gonna take. Where's Buffalo? Was this it? Maybe I'm wrong. It was in New York. I know that, but where was it played in Buffalo or in Massachusetts? Because that really matters for my next game. Not necessarily this one. I'm pretty sure that the Bills can beat. That's the wild card game. Can I look up December? Like I don't know how to find this. Oh, this is what I'm looking for. This was played in Buffalo. It looks like. Which is interesting. I have no idea. That's all I figured out. I should probably look, and it doesn't really matter anyway. But I was just wondering because if it's in, how cold will this game be? And like, will it be snowing? Will it be, will it be freezing? Or will it just be cold? Like, because generally in like these past heavy games, I would just favor past heavy games where the weather's not that bad. You can see where the ball is, yada yada yada. Like you don't have to rely 100% on the and you don't have to rely on the run game. Well, in these cold weather, you're gonna have to, where you can't see and crap. But apparently, the game was played in Buffalo, which might or might not suck. I don't know. I think it'd probably be fine at this point. I have no idea. Um, because I was trying to figure out whether the bad weather was in Patriots or in Massachusetts or was it in New York. Because while it doesn't necessarily vary, it could change my pick for this game. Because if it's like last year, where they got to rely on run game, I would take the Patriots run game over the Bills run game. But I don't know how this weather's gonna be. It's only November. Last time I think it was in December. So, uh, Patriots, whatever, same thing. Yeah, it was in late or early December. Yes, this was the game I'm talking about. I knew that's what I was talking about, but where the run game, 24 carries, Hunt to 10 carries. Mac Jones threw 3 passes, and Allen just couldn't really get the game going but the run game also couldn't. Like in a game like this, once again, I would take the Patriots. I think just due weather conditions, but I think this game happens in November. Right. It does happen December 1st. Hmm. It's very interesting because in similar conditions, the Patriots won this game. And they might have to do that again. The weather should be bad though, right? And again, in bad weather conditions, I'll take the Patriots. Well, I don't think the Patriots are a better team. I think they have a better running offense. And they actually, no, I'm not gonna say they have a better short pass, but they have a better short passing game plan. So in general, they have a better short pass game. While obviously Josh Allen just throwing the ball period is better than Mac Jones in every way, shape, and form. I think when one team has the active game plan to play the ball short and one doesn't, it's going to be a problem. So I'm going to take the Patriots there because I think it's going to be a similar situation as last year. Wait, no, this is the... Yeah, it's the home team. I was right. Home team over here. So, weather should be bad. It should be a pretty similar situation to last year. Where I'm going to take the Patriots. And I think the Patriots are going to come with a game plan. Though I just don't know if Kendrick Bourne and... Who's the other guy? I know, the Dolphins guy, starts with the Devontae Parker. I know, like, he's there. And Kendrick Bourne. And I forgot the other guy. Who's the other receiver? Who's the right receiver 3 for the Patriots? Or 2, I think he's... No, he's a... Jacoby Myers, yeah. Jacoby Myers. Anyway, I think it's just the bad weather. I think it's be a similar situation to last year where the Patriots won it, and I don't know if the Bills can really rely on their pretty bad run game. So, we'll take another divisional upset. 1-2 in division right now, but it's pretty large for playoffs. I want to say, like, yeah, I mean, 11-6 should be enough for playoffs anyway, but either way. Jets, Bills, it's going to be a bad weather situation again, but it's ultimately the Jets. Ultimately, like, I don't think you can just say solely, hey, it's going to be bad weather in every bad weather game. Like, how did the Bills play in what's it called? I know what I'm talking about. That's all that matters. In December. This was at Bucks. I guess that's how that works. Team on the right. This was in Patriots. I don't know. Okay, it fixed itself. Okay. I don't know. I'm not going back to that game. I'm going to stick to Patriots. I'm not sure, but it's division. Okay, anything can happen. Except versus the Jets. Anything cannot happen versus the Jets. The Jets are just not that good of a team. And I don't think the Jets are trash. Like, I think they're much better than last year. But they're just kind of facing enough good teams where they don't really have a shot at playoffs. Obviously, the Jets got better, but I doubt it. Nah, I don't think it's that much better. Week 15, Bills at home versus Dolphins. I just don't see the Bills getting swept by the Dolphins. I highly doubt it. I have them winning the first game. I'm going to have them winning the second game. Or I have the Bills losing the first game. They're not going to get swept by the Miami. It's just not going to happen. I'm not. That's really my only reason for that is that the Bills are not going to go. Also, they're not going to go even in the division. Like, more than likely. And, like, if I had picked them losing that game and I have them losing this game because they're locked for playoffs, which is what I'm going to do. How did I pick twice? Yeah, that's right. I would have them going 2-4 in division, which is not going to happen. It's just simply not. Bills at Chicago. I don't see why the Bills should lose that game. There's a significantly better team everywhere. Better at quarterback, better at receiver, better at tight end, maybe, probably. I don't think Cole Kmet's anything crazy to go over about. They're better at O-line, they're better. At defense, I mean, they're just simply the better team in every way, shape, and form. Except run game. Except running back. That's really the only situation where they're kind of worse. Now, week 17. Bills, Bengals. I picked the Bills because I think Allen's just gonna cook this defense alive. There's no real great playmaker on that cornerback room. Obviously got Jesse Bates, Von Bell, but I don't know that Jesse Bates and Von Bell can just carry this team and cover everyone alone, because they're not really, they're not really supposed to cover that second level. That's the corners and linebackers' job, and I can't. I don't think I'd rely on that. While I think the Bengals, on the other hand, I think the Bills will come over with turnovers, while I don't know that the Bengals will. I think that's the problem here, is that the Bills are going to make plays. Well, I don't know that the Bengals will. I think the offensive wise, they can keep up. But defensively wise, I just think that I don't think the Bengals can keep up defensively. Going to week 18, I don't know yet, because I think that they have division locked up. They're locked for playoffs. There's no worry about playoffs. But I don't know if 14-3 is good enough to win the conference. So I don't know if they're playing for a number 1 seed or not. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it will be, though, because these games are going to go crazy. And no one's going to compete here. I'm pretty certain that they'll have the number 1 seed locked up. They'll be resting starters. The Patriots going to get the game. Which means the Patriots sweep the Bills. But it's because luck of the draw. Don't worry. They're not the better team. They just got luck of the draw. Which means the Bills in 14-3. I feel like 14-3 is about right. While I don't know that the games are right. Like, I don't know that they're gonna beat LA. I don't know that they're gonna lose to Miami. I don't know that they're gonna beat the Chiefs. I don't know if they're gonna beat the Packers. I don't know that they're gonna lose to the Patriots. Like, I don't know this stuff. I'm not sure. But I've got to base it off of kind of how history goes, kind of how, like, I just don't think they're gonna lose, I don't think they're gonna lose. I think it's situational things. Like, these games close, but they're always close with Tyreek. Without Tyreek, I don't know that they can match the pressure. This game matchup, it's just 50-50. I just think that the Bills secondary is better than the Rams. In general, like, as a whole. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey is better than anyone on that Bills defense, but I think Jalen Ramsey alone can't really do it. Here, could go either way. It's another 50-50 game, but it's like Bills at home and just like the offense is just better as a whole, and they're coming off a bye week. Like, I think it's literally just situational things. Like, it's crazy, but, like, I don't know. Bills 14-3. I'm not certain that I have the games right, but I'm pretty sure I have the record right about right. And I somehow got to another page. But anyway, go to the Dolphins. Dolphins. It's a not is it a tough outing? Let me look. Like, okay, their schedule isn't terrible. They kind of have some pretty easy wins. But anyway, week 1, Dolphins Patriots. It seems like the Dolphins kind of own the Patriots as of recently, but I wouldn't say that is 100% lock. Well, okay, this game specifically though, like, I think Miami with Tyreek and Waddle And Mike McDaniel is going to come into the season knowing what he's doing. I think the only situation where Mike McDaniel does not work out is if his offense becomes one-dimensional. But it worked with Debo and the 49ers. I don't know why it can't work with Waddle and Tyreek. It never really became one-dimensional there. I don't know why it would be one-dimensional here. Week 1, we saw them play. How was this game last year? I know the Dolphins won, but I want to know how much. And like how good of a game it was. It was by quite literally 1 point. Wow. Okay. But I think as a general, I think maybe the I think the only struggle here might be the familiarity thing with the Dolphins. While the Patriots are very familiar with who they've got and who they're playing, the Dolphins might not be, so they might not be 100% complete. They might not be 100% ready. But I mean, it's like I don't know if what's it called. I don't know that it's gonna matter because that's what the entire preseason's for. It's what preseason games. It's what minicamp's for getting used to this offense. So I think it should be okay. Especially, I think Mike McDaniels can get them, fine. I think he can get them fine. That being said, I think the Dolphins tend to do well versus the Patriots, especially when it's at home. They might trade off. I don't know when the other game is, but it's very late in the season. Great. We'll figure it out. But I think week 1, the Dolphins can take it. Just because, like, it's tough, right? Because, no, I think that the Dolphins can do it. I think. I'm not 100% sold, but the Dolphins did it last year without Tyreek and without Mike McDaniel. So, don't see why they can't do it again. Week 2 versus the Ravens, I have the Ravens winning. I already had that one set. But I have the Ravens winning because I think it's like a decently scoring game. But I think that Tua might really struggle to pass versus Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, and guys. And what's the other guy's name? Marcus Peters. I think he's really going to struggle here. I think it's going to be like, a situation. And that's where the Bills game is a bounce back game. But we'll get back into that in a second. I think Lamar might kind of just kill this defense too. Like, you got playmaker Xavier Howard. But he's the only surefire thing on that Miami's defense. In terms of secondary, he's the only surefire thing. And obviously, they're going to have to cover Mark Andrews. They're going to have to cover Bateman. And obviously, they don't really have to struggle much outside of that because their receiving room is very weak. They got nobody. I literally don't even know who their receiver. Hold on, let me look. I probably should have looked this up before, but it's because it's just not a good. It's not a good receiving room. Devin Duvernay. Wow. I know who that is. James Proche. Don't know who that is, but yeah, this is your wide receiver too. Devin Duvernay. 232 yards last year. 2 touchdowns. Granted. He was not really playing. He was probably the wide receiver 3, 4 there last year. I mean, I guess he'd be the wide receiver 3. But I don't know. I don't think I trust the receivers on the Ravens, but I think I can trust them enough. I think I can trust the Ravens defense enough. I think I was talking about this though, how this might be a lower scoring game, just because I think Lamar might score a lot of points. He might not. Um, just because I don't think the talent there, receiver wise, is there. Lamar's made it work before, but I don't know that he can make it work again. um, I dropped my water. I think Lamar's gonna make it work, just because I think Mark Andrews is top 4, 5 tight end, and he's such a great receiving tight end. And Lamar just might actually just run all over this defense of the Dolphins. But he also might not. I don't know. Um, well, I don't know how well he can maneuver around a secondary like Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey. I just don't know if he can manage around that too well yet. So then that's why we get the week 3 bounce back game where he's playing another good secondary, but I think it's more so again it was a bounce back game. Had a bad game last week. Tyreek historically does well versus the Bills. Just give the ball to Tyreek and let him go. Mike McDaniels can come up with something. I promise. um, week 4, Bengals versus Dolphins. Thing with this game is that I think that this is probably going to be a pretty high scoring game if the what's it called, if the my Dolphins want to win it. If Dolphins want to win it, then it's gonna have to be a high scoring game because I don't know that the Bills I don't know that the Bengals defense can really cover these guys though, but I just don't know that the Dolphins can. Um, if the Dolphins can maneuver around Burrow and friends, well, then I think they're fine. But I think that I don't know. I think that I don't know that I can trust Tua and its receiving core. While their receiving core is not necessarily bad, uh, it's just that the Bengals are better, and there's a better quarterback, and there's a better running back, and there might be a better O line. So they just might be better, period, on offense outside of tight end. While the defense, I don't know how good either one is. They're gonna have to prove themselves. So it's just a matter of you're taking a proven offense versus an unproven offense. And so as of right now, I'm going to take the proven offense for obvious reasons. Jets versus Miami. Have the Jets won a game into week 5? No, 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 no. Okay. We're going to take the Jets here, and let me tell you why. There's nothing really special about the Jets team. But I think that teams like winning games, okay? And what I mean by that is that if you go into week 6, they're not going to beat the Packers. Week 7, they're not going to beat the Broncos. And so they might not win a game until week 8. And that's if they beat the Patriots. And I just don't know if I see that happening. I don't know if I see them I don't think I see them going 0-7. I just don't think I see that. It's a divisional game. It's another one that anything can really happen. I want to look at their solid, but there's nothing like DJ Reed. I think is pretty solid, if I recall correctly, or promising, if anything. Or maybe he's bad. I don't really remember. Like, I'm just looking because it's a good receiving room. It's a good run game. While I don't think the Jets are the better team, I just don't think I see the Jets going 0-7. I don't. I think that they're really going to struggle to beat the Packers, and I think I really see them struggling to do well. If it loads, give me 1 second. I don't think I see them beating the Broncos either. So if they get a win, it's going to be in Week 8 versus the Patriots. But I don't know why my page is doing this. Great. Oh, might have to reload the page. Oh, maybe not. I think I fixed it to an extent. Hold on. Yeah, intermission. I'm gonna pause until I fix it. Alright, I fixed it like immediately, but I just don't think I see the Jets waiting until week 8 to get a win. I think this is probably the most winnable of all the games at this point. So, it's at home. It's not like the Jets offense on paper is terrible. They got 3 good receivers, or 3. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and say 3 good receivers. Good run game potentially. An inconsistent quarterback, but that's where sometimes he might ball out. And let's say he does versus the Dolphins. You know, let's just say he does. So let's have him win this game. Miami versus Vikings. This is going to be another game where you kind of got to see to approve it that he can match these high-powered offenses, because while the Vikings defense is not that good, because they got Zadarius Smith, they got Andrew Booth on the defense. They got those 2 guys, but like, okay, well, I don't know why it's different, but either way, like outside of that, Harrison Phillips. Okay, I don't want to look at this page. It's ugly. I should just click on this. Like, their defense on paper is not bad, but it just kind of constantly plays bad. So, and like they're relying on these rookies. I think that's my biggest problem, is they're relying on rookies to play defense well. And while, you know, on paper the defense plays well, because there's a pretty decent secondary. Like, on paper, it's a pretty decent secondary. Like, Patrick Peterson, Andrew Booth as the corners. Could be worse. It definitely could be worse. There's much worse secondaries. Lewis Cine, and Harrison Smith. Pretty okay safety duo. Not even okay, it's just pretty good safety duo. So I think if the defense plays well, especially in this matchup, the Vikings can do it. But, like, I think Tua is inconsistent, right? But I don't know that I necessarily think that he's gonna lose, like, you know, every game. I think that honestly Tua could probably thrive here versus the what's it called, the Vikings defense. But I also think that the Miami defense might not be that good, especially when they have to cover Adam Thielen in the red zone, Adam Thielen period, Justin Jefferson. They got to stop the run game with Madison and Cook. Kirk himself is pretty good. Like the Vikings. I think the Vikings are gonna be able to get pressure. You got okay there. I was confused, but you got. I don't know who this guy is actually. Looks like a rookie or a young one. Anyway, you got like I don't know. You got guys that can do it. Uh, you've got guys though also that you don't know if they're gonna do it, how well they're gonna do. Um, I know like their edge rushers might not be that good, but otherwise like their linebacker play. If their linebacker play is good, especially in this game, they can thrive versus a pretty bad Miami O line. So it might be tough for Tua because I don't think Tua is really much of a playmaker. Um, so I think if they can consistently get pressure and grab the Vikings and really win this game, but I think the Dolphins are also a good team with an approved O line, um, with improved receiving depth. It's just really on how Tua plays. He already just lost to the Jets. I don't know that he loses again. I don't think he loses another 50-50 game. It's not even 50-50 game. This game should be like 60-40, 65-35, something like that. But it's also a divisional game, so it's like can't really blame him too much. Um, he's gonna play against the Vikings though, and hopefully he has a bounce back game because I would hope at least. Then we got Steelers, Miami. Uh, he doesn't really have to. Tua doesn't really have to play against any strong elite corner. Actually, it's pretty bad cornerback play. You just gotta deal with Minka, and if you can deal with Minka, I think you'll really be okay. The pass rush obviously is gonna be really tough for him to deal with, the O line to deal with. But TJ plays on the same side as Armstead, right? I would think so. I don't know. Let me look. So as long as yes, I think. Wait, hold on. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think. I think I'm wrong actually, because I think. Okay. So I don't know what W is. Weak side linebacker. I did not actually know that. But anyway, that's not the point here. Um, TJ and Hayward might really tear apart this O line, but they also might not. It's an improved O line. It's not like Tua can't. Like it's not like Tua's immobile, so he can get out. Um, this might be like a. I think I mentioned this before, but it might be like a 3-sack game for TJ. But I just don't know if that's enough. Um, versus Mitchell Trubisky led, because it might still be Trubisky at week 7. It might be Pickett. I don't really know. But I think as long as Xavier Howard has a pretty decent game, I think the Steelers might struggle to keep up. Just because I'm not sure how well this offense is going to play. Um, it could be a decently scoring game. It might be a similar game to like the Vikings Steelers game last year, or the Steelers Chargers game last year, or it comes down to like those final drives and shenanigans. But I think ultimately the Dolphins can seal it out in not necessarily a convincing manner, but in a game that Tua can actually thrive in because there's no elite corner play to deal with. I think that's where Tua is going to look really good, is where he doesn't have to deal with this experienced, very good cornerback play, where there's no elite guy to deal with that you gotta cover or not throw away from, or do throw away from. I think he can thrive in those games, which includes this Dolphins, or not Dolphins game, the the Dolphins game, yes, but the Dolphins Lions game. He's not really throwing to any crazy corner. Jeff Okuda, it depends on how well he plays. Whether the Lions really have a great quarterback at all. Um, that's his name, right? I'm not. I just want to make sure I'm thinking of the right guy. Yeah, he's a corner. Okay. It really just depends on if they can trust him as that elite corner, and I don't know that he can. He can't really carry this defense, right? and I would trust Tua and Tyreek over Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown or DJ Chark or Jameson Williams. Like this honestly might be like a another decently scoring game, but I think ultimately you can only go so far with Jared Goff. Like you have three solid receivers, but you can only do so much with Jared Goff, and it's the same thing with Miami. Is that you can only do so much with Tua, but I think Tua is a little bit, Tua has a little bit more promise. We've seen Jared Goff. We haven't necessarily seen Tua on a good team with good receivers, you know. But now, you gave him an improved O line and an improved receiving, threat. So hopefully, then he can thrive there. Um. So yeah, I just think that Tua versus bad cornerback play should be good for him. That's generally how I'm like basing these off of, except in the one game versus the Bills where I think he can pull off something. Then you go week 9 versus the Bears. Um, Dolphins pretty convincingly. It's just another game. Dolphins versus bad cornerback play. Um, you might can rely on Jalen Johnson or that's his name, right? I keep checking names because I don't want to be wrong. Johnson, looking right. I spelled it wrong. See, I know my guys. I know who they are. It's just I always double check them because I don't like being wrong. And they're like, "Oh, you don't know football," and you might be right. You just might be right, but at least like I don't like I know what I'm talking about. But I forgot the other Bears corner that, but I don't think he's that good. Let me Google that. I keep looking up depth charts because it's easier to talk about teams when I can literally see who their guys are. Like I might remember who they are, but yeah, I didn't think. It depends on how well Kyler Gordon is, the rookie Kyler Gordon. But it depends. Even if he's actively playing. I think that the Bears have a very clear wide receiver one in Darnell Mooney, and it's just another game of Tua versus bad cornerback play. I'm gonna take Tua. You know, I'm gonna take Tua there versus bad cornerback play. The Bears are just not a good team, and the Dolphins might actually be a solid team. I don't know if they can cover Tyreek and Waddle. Mike Bananas might carve those guys alive. Here, I would have this as the Browns' favorite, except in this scenario, I have this being Deshaun's first week back. So I think he might struggle in this game. Again, it's his first week back in this, in my imagination. I have him, this is out for the first 8 weeks, I think, 8 weeks. And then he comes back on the bye week, and he plays the Dolphins. And I think this is his first game back in a year and a half. I think he's gonna struggle. While I think Tua also might struggle here. I would take a guy that, is on a hot streak and has won 4 games in a row, than what's it called? Than the Browns, who are just literally cycling a new quarterback halfway through the season, but it's because they got to. Though I will say this game, if because it's rumored now that Deshaun might only get 4 to 6 weeks, I will probably change this a little bit because I would just change the Browns games, just because it definitely changes things if Deshaun is back earlier. Because I think in this game, if Deshaun is back earlier and he's already played a few weeks, then I think Deshaun wins this game and the Browns win this game. But I think otherwise, I'm gonna have the Dolphins winning it in Deshaun's first week back. Then you got a bye week, and then you got Houston. I'm not. They're coming off a bye week. It's Houston. Houston doesn't really have much talent. I don't think I had to really talk about it too much. Um, Ultimately, Houston's lack of talent is they could easily be the worst team in the league this year. Again, you know, but we shall see. Um, I mean, obviously they weren't mathematically, the record-wise, they weren't the worst team in the league last year, but I don't know, they might have been. um, so yeah, then week 12, we get Mike McDaniel's going back to San Fran. Which might be really good for him because he does know that system. He's worked in that system, and the 49ers are going to be used to this system. And ironically enough, he's going to know Trey Lance because he's familiar with him because he worked with him last year on these, plays. So he's a little bit more familiar with Trey Lance than other people might be. Like San Fran's obviously going to be a good team, but he's going to know the situation. He's going to not necessarily know the playbook, but he's going to, know a lot of things. He's going to be prepared for the 49ers. And is that enough? I kind of think so. I think it's enough for the Dolphins to be ready, uh, because ultimately you got Mike McDaniels going back to his team that he was just at last year. He was the offensive coordinator. I think he can manage that. So yeah, I think while the 49ers might be the better team, he already is familiar with Trey Lance. I don't know how well Trey Lance is going to be playing, but versus a team that kind of knows how Trey Lance works, I think Trey Lance might just have a bad game here, and that's just because Mike Daniels. Um, Here, I think this is where they finally get their next loss. Because I have them winning a lot of games in a row. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row. Just because they kind of play bad teams in a row. Like they face the Jets, into the Vikings, into the Steelers, into the Lions, into Chicago, into the Browns, which is a good team, but in a sense, week one Deshaun, when he hasn't played in a year and a half, into Houston, into I think there's out of these games, I think they could only lose two of them, and that's versus the Browns if Deshaun is actually still good coming back, or if he comes back earlier, and the 49ers, because the 49ers are probably realistically the better team. But, I mean, they're facing non-playoff team, non-playoff team, non-playoff team, non-playoff team, non-playoff team, and this team, like, Steelers, they got popped round one. They barely made it. And so in this stretch, they're playing one team that was in the playoffs last year. So while it's like, yeah, they're winning 7 games in a row, it's not really crazy to say that they're winning 7 games in a row when they A, just did it last year. B, they're just kind of playing shit teams. I mean, lucky break, but ain't nothing wrong with that, right? You get the win somewhere. But then you get into the Chargers, and I think you take the loss here, finally. I think Herbert kind of cooks this defense, and I actually think this game is probably a blowout. Um, just because I think that Tua, as previously mentioned, versus good cornerback play, he's going to struggle, and it includes this game too. But I think this game is probably going to be lower scoring, which Tua could be fine in. I think Tua in good look, it can score 14, 20 points. I think he can score 20-ish points fine. I don't think that's the biggest concern for him. I think it's more so, scoring in these higher scoring games, which you're definitely going to have to match Justin Herbert, and you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to match Herbert versus J.C. Jackson, Derwin James, and guys everywhere on the defense, especially when the O-line's not that good. And you're going to have to deal with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. I think this game's a blowout for the Chargers. And then they get the Bills at home. Like, you already beat the Bills once. You're not going to beat the Bills twice, okay? So I think that's where another loss to the Bills. That's 2 losses in a row, but... And then you get the Packers, which, You might lose 3 games in a row. It is nice that Mike McDaniels was offensive coordinating against the what's it called, against the Packers last year, but he doesn't really know everything about them just because he was playing against them once, or I guess twice, because I think they played. Did they play in the regular season? They did play in the regular season, and Rodgers threw a bomb, and it was a dot. I remember that Rodgers made that like 30-second comeback to win the game. It was crazy. Anyway, um, I think it's gonna be another game. You're gonna have to trust Tua versus 2 good cornerbacks. Heck, 3 good cornerbacks in Jair King and another guy that I forgot his name. But I think he's gonna struggle, and especially because you're gonna have to match this high-powered offense with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he can match it. I don't. Next week versus the Patriots. You already beat them once. Will you beat them again? Maybe. I think you got to win a game eventually. So, well, will they sweep the Patriots though? I'm not sure here, because at this point you've lost 3 weeks in a row. I don't know that you're gonna lose again. I definitely have them. I'll go ahead and talk about Week 18. You're not getting swept by the Jets, and you're playing for a playoff spot. They're gonna be fine. I'll just wait because I played last time and it was fine. You're gonna be fighting for a playoff spot. You're not gonna get swept by the Jets. I would hope. You're the better team. I shouldn't have to go into depth about this. All right, I'm trying to click. I promise. It's just being slow. I just don't. There we go. Wait, why? What's crap bugging? Hold on. Please? I'm about to reload the page. Yep, I was waiting. Trust me. I was trying to reload the page. But yeah, I think you're not going to get swept by the Jets. And especially when you're in your final week, you're going to play for a playoff spot. I think you're gonna push yourself into that playoff spot there. And I don't think... I think there's kind of like that bounce back game where you kind of destroy the Jets, too. I don't think that game's going to be close. But... Shall see. Shall see. Yeah, I have been beating them. So at this point, you're 10-6. Which at this point, you're 9-6 going into the Patriots game. You need to win. You're playing for your playoff spot while the Patriots aren't. I don't think. I might come back to this just because I really don't know. I don't know if they're gonna sweep them, the Patriots. Again, they swept them last year, but I think I don't know that you lose 4 games in a row though. I don't know. Like, you're facing 3 good teams. You can finally have a good bounce back game once again versus lack of good cornerback play. I think Dolphins can seal that one out. I think they can. While I don't know that you can necessarily sweep the Patriots. I just don't know that you're necessarily gonna not do that, you know. But that sets them at 11-6, 4-2 in the division, which is actually better than the Bills in this world. But I also have the Ravens going 2-4 in the division, but still being 10-7. So who cares? That's what happens when you play in a tough division, or not necessarily a tough division, but that's what happens when you play the Bills and you get upset by the Jets. On to the Patriots. I already talked about week 1 versus the Dolphins. Week 2 versus the Steelers. I just think that Mike Tomlin and the defense. I think the defense is going to be better, and I think that you're not really gonna struggle to deal with the run game as much because that was really bad part last year is that the run game was really bad. But either way, you got new guys deal with that. Olario Kajobi, Miles Jack, and then you got the defense better or cornerback room better with like Levi Wallace and crap. So, um, so the defense is a little bit better. So I think you're not really gonna struggle with the run game. So Mac Jones is gonna have to pass, and he's not a terrible passer. He's just not like really a clutch time quarterback. But at this point, you're gonna have Trubisky because I'm imagining he's not gonna be out by week 2. Um, you're gonna have to play as you're gonna have Trubisky playing against the Patriots. I really think that Trubisky can deal with not really facing an elite corner. Like the secondary is not very good. Their defense in general, like its pass rush was good. It's just line was good. Period. With linebacker too. But with it getting weaker, bad cornerback play with J.C. Jackson gone, I don't see Trubisky really having a terrible game here. And I don't think Mac Jones would necessarily have a bad game either. It's just I don't know if he can match, you know, the Steelers having actually 3 good receivers in Johnson, Claypool, and Pickens, and even a good 4 in Austin, while the Patriots barely have a wide receiver 1 in Devontae Parker or Kendrick Bourne. You know, I don't think I can trust them there. The week 3, they're running into the Ravens. I think that one's also a tough one. It's a very good secondary. It's Lamar. I think Lamar can really have a bounce back year. And just without, anyone really stopping Lamar, I don't know who. I would trust the offense a little bit. I would trust the receivers more just because all you got is Rashad Bateman. But Lamar did it in 2019. There was no elite receiver on that 2019 team. He could do it again. Maybe not to the greatest degree, but he's gonna make it work. Like he's gonna win games still, including this one. I just think he can actually handle this game. It's not like the Patriots are like some electric team that's really gonna win. In these high scoring games, they did really not score that many points. I was in terms of rank. I don't know what they were ranked last year in terms of offense, but it can't have been that good. It can't have been that good, right? Yeah, they're like the middle of the pack. Oops. Like, they're just like right in that middle pack of it where they like Okay, they're running. It's pretty good though. Where they're probably up here somewhere. Yeah, there they are. Receiving. Where are they? Passing. I keep starting from the bottom just because I figured to be closer to the bottom. But then they end up, yeah, they're just like mid. They're literally just in the mid for everything. Like, whatever. I just think I would trust Lamar and guys over them in this case. Where are they even ranked? Yeah, see, the Ravens are literally ranked above them, and they did not have Lamar for most of the season. So, in terms of passing, in terms of total too, I imagine they're faster or higher. There they are. No, I guess they're lower. Wait, they might be higher. I think they're higher actually. I just don't know where they are. Okay, they're way up here, which is surprising because they didn't have Lamar for most of the season. But anyway, Steelers were kind of ass, huh? I gotta start. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, just I think that this is gonna be a game where Mac Jones might not necessarily struggle, but there's probably a turnover or two, probably just one. There's probably a turnover that maybe cost him the game, maybe not, but Lamar might not turn over the ball at all. He's versus a pretty bad secondary. I wouldn't see it. Be surprised. Um, Patriots Packers. Um, Packers are just easily the better team, better quarterback. Is it better receivers? I was gonna say better receivers, but I actually don't know if they're better. They probably are better. They might be better. I'm not sure. Um, better run game. Like, and Aaron Rodgers is just gonna cook these bad secondary. Um, Detroit versus the Patriots. This was interesting because while I don't think the Lions should necessarily win this game, I think they could maybe do it here. Just because it's not like there's anyone that on that, a safety room, not safety room, a secondary period that can really force too many bad things out of um Goff, especially behind a pretty good O line. He has good receivers to throw to, a good tight end, good run game to rely on. I think their receivers are better. I think their run game is better. I think their O line is better. Maybe. The Patriots O line got worse, and the Lions stayed about the same. So it's like, but it was already good. So it's like, I don't know. Um, I'm not sure. I think that the Lions could legit win this game. Just because. I mean, it was definitely be an upset, but yeah, you know what? I don't know why. I don't know why the Lions could not win this game. Like, as previously mentioned, I think they're better on everywhere on the offense except quarterback. Like, defensively wise, honestly, they might be better there too. In some ways, not in every way, just in some ways. So, I think while I don't think the Patriots are a bad team, I think they kind of got a few unlucky breaks. But are they really? I have them not winning a game until like week 7 then. And I don't think I can't get behind that, dude. They've got to win a game somewhere. What the heck? I don't know what this means, but I think I gotta have them winning this game. I don't think they're gonna go until week 7 and wait to win a game. I don't think they're going 0-6. Like, I'm not sure, but they gotta win a game somewhere, and that seems like the most winnable game. Well, I think this one should surprisingly be close, and the Giants could even win it. But I just don't see the Patriots going 0-6 to start the season. Week 6. Week 6, they play the Browns. Probably Jacoby Brissett. Um, I don't know that it matters. The Browns O line's very good. He has a good receiver to throw to, and I just not very high on the Patriots. Like, I think Jacoby Brissett a serviceable quarterback. He's gonna get the job done in some games. I have Jacoby Brissett going 3-5 as a starter. So, if that means anything, I think if Deshaun back, it's a literally 100% win for the Browns. But maybe not if he's back. Maybe if he's not back, it could be close. But I think this is probably gonna be a lower scoring game with two kind of just average quarterbacks. But like Jacoby Brissett, while he's definitely worse than Mac Jones by kind of significant margin, I think he has a better receivers to throw to, so it might help him out quite a lot. Um, but I also think that um Mac Jones could easily win this game though, because it's gonna be a lower scoring game. But I don't know that Mac Jones can really deal with like uh the cornerbacks, Newsome and Ward. I don't know. Like, have we seen? Did the Browns play? I think they did, right? Browns did play the Patriots, and it was a blowout. But this year it's gonna be different because I remember talking about this. Their run game got better in this case because they had to run with Dearness Johnson. They didn't have Chubb. They didn't have Kareem. Um, and the Patriots got worse. So the only got a little bit worse on the Patriots, which really hurts. They lost Mason. Um, so I don't know that it ends well for the Patriots here. I think that the pass rush from the Browns, plus as long as the offense plays decently from the Browns, I think they can win the game. But here they play the Bears. I don't see the Bears winning this. The Bears just are bad. That's all I got. The Bears are just bad. And they play the Jets. I mean, do I have to describe this game? Like, it's probably gonna be a good game from Fields. I just don't know that there's enough talent to really save him. Like that's really it. Like, I don't know. I think it's tough. But we shall see at least. Um yeah, and Belichick has, well, it's not a rookie quarterback. What am I talking about? But it's like a second year quarterback that didn't really play well last year. He should be playing better this year, but I think this is like one of the few games where they can actually maybe force a couple turnovers. So if they can actually force turnovers for once, give Mac Jones the ball, trust them, then maybe they can actually do something. And win the game. Then we get Patriots Jets. The Jets are not good. Like, I want you to acknowledge the Jets are not a good team. But I don't know if there's really a but I think the Patriots are also not a good team. I've seen people having the Jets get more wins than the Patriots. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I just like, I really feel like the Jets could win this game, and I think it's gonna be surprised. They might trade with the Patriots, honestly. The Jets might win this one, and then the Patriots win the next one, especially because I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're about evenly matched. I just think that they probably trade with the Patriots. Therefore, yeah, that seems right. Just because, like, I think Zach Wilson is not great. I don't know if he's great, but I also don't think he's bad. So, and what I mean by that, I don't mean anything from that. It's just quite simple. I don't think he's terrible. Um, I think he could do well in certain positions, and I think this certain position where he doesn't have to face a crazy good corner, he can maybe have a good game. Matt Ryan Colts versus Mac Jones Patriots. Colts are better in most positions, so, and I think the Colts are actually a pretty sleeper good team because Patriots like a lot of slots with like Kendrick Bourne. I think he's more of a slot guy. Devontae Parker's more of a deep guy. And who's the other guy? Hold on one second. Who's the other guy? Jacoby Myers. They got a good slot defender though. The Colts. They got Kenny Moore. They got a good corner period in Gilmore. Uh, Safety is also good. I can't remember who it is though. 1 second. No, I was wrong. So IJ Rogers. I forgot about him. I knew who he is. He wasn't that good, but he was. Well, that's it. He just was not that good, but he wasn't terrible. Um, I will say their safety room kind of sucks. So like neither Nick Cross or Rodley McLeod lead are very good. Well, okay, Nick Cross. Apparently, I don't even know who this guy is. He's a round 3 pick. He's a rookie. There we go. That's all I know about him. And this guy, Rodney. God, he was on the. What's his name? 32. 32 years old. And he was on the Eagles last year. Interesting. I don't know anything about him, so I don't know if he's good or not. But so Devontae Parker might have a good game or something, but I think Gilmore and Moore will lock up the receivers pretty well. And I think Matt Ryan can probably thrive here with Pittman. I think this game might not be close. It really might not. It might be a 2-score game or so. I could see that. Then after the bye week, I already talked about this. I think they traded with the Jets. Then we get Vikings Patriots. Probably a high scoring game. 2 bad defenses, but 2 decent offenses. I'm not sure, cause I think generally the Patriots kind of can beat these better teams or average teams to average to bad, but like inside division, I think it's harder because divisional games. But I think here it's gonna be tough to beat the what their name Vikings, because Kirk and Justin Jefferson might just absolutely kill them. Like that's a very realistic thing to happen. Like I think it's gonna be tough to win this game, and like I think whichever team gets the most turnovers wins the game. And I do think the Vikings are more likely to get more turnovers than the Patriots. I think. The Patriots versus Bills, I already talked about that one. Cold weather with better running game just kind of works out for the Patriots. Not the better team, but gets a lucky break. Then Patriots Cardinals. This was interesting because I think the Cardinals are not quite as bad as people think, but I think they're not that good. Like I don't know if they're a playoff team. Like at face value, I think 49ers, Rams, Packers, Saints, Bucks, Cowboys, and Eagles go to the playoffs. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the right amount. 5, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's right. I think those 7 teams go to the playoffs. But so I don't think the Cardinals are a playoff team, but they did just make it last year, and their receiver room is very good, even including a tight end. Just their O-line is very questionable. Their defense is even more questionable, especially without Chandler Jones. Like it's very questionable about how good that is. So I think Mac Jones can have a really good game here, and probably ball out versus them. And it really depends on how well they can. It's gonna be just a high scoring game. That's about it. I don't say that about like a mid offense like the Patriots, but I think it's gonna be tough. But I think I would trust the Patriots a little bit more here. to force, Kyler to make bad decisions because it is late. This is late season Kyler too. You gotta realize that. And Kyler doesn't really play well late in the season. Um, and I think you can make Kyler to make a couple bad decisions. Your pass rush isn't terrible. Your line as a whole isn't terrible. So maybe there you can do something. Not sure, but I think that the game might actually be decent, ironically enough, but not for the right reasons. Just because two mid teams are playing, and probably fighting for their playoff spot, right? Because at this point, the Patriots are 0-4, 1-4, 1-5, 2-5, 2-6, 2-7, 3-7. I literally could just take away. Okay, whatever. I'm retarded. They're where's it at? They're 5-8 at that point. They're fighting for a spot. So, right, or they're 4-8 at that point. So they're really fighting for that final playoff push, and this gives them a spark of hope. And then it gets struck down because the Raiders are simply the better team. I think it gets killed by the Raiders. I think they get absolutely destroyed by the Raiders. I don't know who's going to guard Devontae Adams on that team. And if they can guard Devontae Adams, can you guard Hunter Renfrow? Okay, guard them too. Okay, guard Darren Waller then. You're not going to be able to stop it. And if you can stop the passing somehow, stop the run game. That's not going to happen. All that's not going to happen. And it's at home too versus the Raiders. I don't see how the Patriots win this game. Then they face the Bengals. Bengals are just the better team. I mean, they're just a better team. High-powered offense. I think the Patriots are really going to struggle versus these high-powered offenses. That's why I would have them losing to the Miami. It's not necessarily losing to the Steelers because of that. It's just Steelers kind of tend to win these 50-50 games. Their worst loss last season in terms of 50-50 games was the Vikings. And they lost to the Raiders, but the Raiders were a playoff team. So and they also lost to they beat the Broncos. What am I talking about? They don't really lose 50-50 games recently. Obviously, we don't talk about 2020, but they lost 50. They didn't lose 50-50 games. They lost 40-60 games where we were favored very much. I don't know why we lost to Washington and the Bengals, but that's okay. That's okay. Who cares anyway, right? That was 2020. Not like it could have been. Not necessarily it could have been our year, but could have made another run. Could have won a playoff game. But anyway, that's not the point here. I think they kind of get crushed by these high-powered offenses. I think that's the thing here. And the Bengals, definitely high-powered offense. Probably a top 5 offense next year. Dolphins, it's just... I don't know if they can match it. I don't know if they get swept by the Dolphins. This is the only one I'm they could probably win. And then week 18, I think the Bills rest their starters because they got nothing to play for. They already locked up the number 1 seed. I mean, they already locked up the division. They're playing for nothing. They're gonna rest their starters, and the Patriots can win the game. So that's the Patriots ending 6-11. Pretty bad. I don't know if I necessarily agree with my own prediction. I think there's only but I think that there's only a couple games that they could win though. I think the only ones would be these 3, which still only puts them at 9-8, which still is not the playoffs. So I think those are the only games that they could really, and maybe this one. Other than that, and they might not get swept by Miami. I think at best their record is 11-6. I think at worst it's. Let me go back to what I actually predict. That's right, 6-11. Yeah, I think this is about what the realistic is 6-11, and I think at very worst they're gonna beat those. They lose there. Bam, bam. I think at worst they go and lose here. They lose here. I think at worst it's 4-13, but that's not gonna happen. They're gonna win. I think. I don't know if I have the games right, but I think it didn't change. But I think 6-11, 7-10 is about what you can expect. I would not expect too much here, just to be quite honest. Like, I don't think I can trust this team really too much. I don't see it. Um, while I really don't think they're that bad, I think their schedule is kind of difficult. Just playing in a division where the Dolphins and Bills are going to be pretty good, and the Jets are on the uprise, while the Patriots are just on the decline. Especially trading away N'Keal Harry, you got to talk about that. It's just another receiver from this already weak receiver room gone. And obviously, N'Keal Harry was not that good. I understand. He's been pretty bad. He's just a heavy bust. Heavy bust. But it's still just another guy to have. Okay, so we get down to the Jets. Jets are not a good team. That's all I've got to say. I think they lose just the better team Ravens. I don't think I have to describe that too much. I think the Ravens secondary is absolutely going to kill Zach Wilson. I think this game's an absolute blowout. This game, I think the Browns secondary is going to absolutely kill Zach Wilson. So I think it's not necessarily a blowout. It's a closer game because Jacoby Brissett sucks. But, here we are. Bengals, Jets. I think this game's an absolute destruction. 30-point game. Difference. 30-point difference. Bengals are going to blow them out. Out of the water. Out the park. Steelers, Jets is probably the closest game they have yet. This might be the situation where, there's a quarterback dilemma. But I think Trubisky at this point is going to be playing for his job. Potentially. So I think he really has to win this game. He cannot lose to the Jets, and I think he won't lose to the Jets. And as previously mentioned, Steelers last year specifically won pretty much every 50-50 game. They didn't really lose to a team they should not have. Outside the Vikings, kind of. And that's kind of debatable. Not really. They probably shouldn't have lost to the Vikings. But they still put up 28 points, so it's 28-36, I think. Then they play the Dolphins. I actually have them winning here, and an upset because I think it's kind of that game where it's a fluke. It's a fluke game. I really don't see the upset. Not an upset. I meant I do see the upset from the Jets. Just because I think that the Jets are kind of this random team that Zach Wilson might ball out one game and play bad in the other ones. And Zach Wilson might actually have a good game versus the Steelers. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. And here, I think it's going to be enough versus the Dolphins. I already talked about the game, though. And then I think while you're getting on the train where he played well versus the Steelers, he played well versus the Dolphins, and even sealed out a win, he gets killed by the Packers. Then they probably get killed by the Broncos. Again, just a better team. I don't have to talk about these games. It's the Packers. They're just a better team. Broncos, just a better team. Everywhere. Quarterback, receivers, maybe. No, receivers. Titan is Is it? I don't know. Both the Titans kind of lame. I kind of suck. Whatever. Who cares? Defense is just so much better. I don't see it. I already talked about that game. Already talked about that game. Already talked about that game. Jets Bears. It's gonna be a showdown from Fields and Wilson, which is interesting. Cool matchup. I don't know how what's gonna go. I think that Justin Fields can probably handle the game, but I think Zach Wilson can also handle the game. But I think the Jets defense can actually maybe do something here. Um, I think I trust the Jets defense a little bit more than the Bears defense. 2 years ago, the Bears defense was good, but last year it was not very good at all. What was they ranked in? I just know they were not that good. Why does it only show 20 teams? Anyway, I do want to talk about how the Steelers are down here. I actually don't want to talk about that. I want to do quite the opposite and not talk about it. I literally don't even see them. Yep, there's the Bears at 22. Their defense last year, very bad. Wait, no, wait. I'm confused. Wait, no, I'm retarded, I think. Yeah, okay, this isn't just points allowed, but that's kind of the biggest stat. And obviously, you see the Jets at 32nd. Yo, the Chargers had the 30th. That's insane. I didn't know it was that bad. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was that bad. Yikes. Damn, it's going for 2 hours. Almost done though. I think the Jets defense kind of got better. While I don't know that the Bears defense got much better, strictly because I Sauce is really gonna help the defense, right? Um, Sauce specifically is really gonna help. But you still got guys like C.J. Mosley. You drafted who else did they draft on the defense? They drafted someone, I swear. Am I wrong? I know they got Garrett Wilson on offense and Brees. Maybe they didn't. I guess they didn't. I gotta look at their safety duo because I actually don't know anything about them. I've heard of both of them, but I don't know how good they are. This guy's stats are not good, but you don't judge everything off stats. I have not seen much about them, and this guy has like non-existent stats, and is 31. How old's this other guy? 25. Okay. Anyway, I think this is a battle of bad teams, and I think Zach Wilson actually does pretty well in games where it's a bad team. So yeah, we'll take him. And I feel like I would trust Sauce to make more plays on defense than Jalen Johnson, specifically. That's the best I've got, really. I think the Bears defense might improve this year, and I think if it does actually improve this year, then we can take the Bears. But I think if worse comes to worse, this can just be a running game. But I think Brees Hall is kind of a stud, and Elijah Mitchell also is pretty solid. While the Bears are Michael Carter, not Elijah Mitchell. I'm talking about the wrong. Wasn't Elijah Mitchell did that last year though? Am I simply wrong? Yeah, I just talked about the wrong guy. That was my bad. I forgot. This guy was actually good. This guy was good. I was talking about Michael Carter. I love calling people by the wrong name. But I was talking about Michael Carter because they're both rookies. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Michael Carter was a rookie last year as well. I'm gonna fact check this. Yeah, they're both rookies last year. Well, Michael Carter was actually pretty good last year as well. But you still want another running back to play, and it's kind of be like another two running back system. But it's a pretty good two running back system. Like their running offense might actually be decent. So that's where I might just trust there, because if the passing game is not working, they can rely on the run game better than the Bears can. Um, then we get the Vikings, Jets. I feel like the Vikings kind of just cook the defense. I'm not sure, but I feel like this game is pretty unfavorable for the Jets, just because like I don't know, because I don't know like how. I don't think I trust the Jets offense enough to say that they'll match Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, and guys like that. I don't think I can trust the Jets offense enough. This game's a blowout. Then we get Lions, Jets. I think the Lions improved a lot, and I don't know that the Jets pass rush is quite good enough to get through the Jets Lions O line. And I think while both these receiving duos are kind of not duos, trios, are actually pretty similar in like idea. Um, I think the Lions receiving room's better. I think um, the run game is a more proven run game with Jamal Charles and um, Freak. What's his name? The running back one. I don't know how I can think of the running back two, but not the one. DeAndre Swift. Um, I think DeAndre Swift and Jamal Charles is slightly better running back room because it's more proven than Brees Hall and Michael Carter. Um, I think it's a more proven one, and I think that like DeAndre Swift could probably top 10 range, maybe top 15, definitely, maybe not definitely, but probably top 15. Well, I'm not sure that either one of the Jets running backs are top 15. Brees Hall might be, but we gotta see him first. So I would just trust the Lions a little bit more to win that game, I think. Um, Jags and Jets. The Jags went out and got incredibly mid guys. They got They did not get Eric Ebron. They did not. They got Wait, they did get Eric. I think I'm right, right? Evan Ingram. I knew it started with an E because Eric Ebron's still in the Steelers. That's why I was confused for a second. Um, Promising. Anyway, um, they did not get they got Evan Ingram, who he's okay. That's the best I've got. Like the thing with this team is like on paper it could actually do something. Like if everyone like kind of matches what they've got to do. Like if everyone outperforms everything, like if Travis Etienne, James Robinson actually ends up being a very good running back duo, which it should be, then that works out. Trevor Lawrence improves this year. He had a really good connection with Marvin Jones last year. I don't know how many yards he had, but yeah, like 800. That's what I thought, somewhere up there. Uh, like he could, if Christian Kirk wasn't there, then he could realistically probably hit that 1,000 range, just because Trevor Lawrence and Marvin Jones had a pretty good connection there. Christian Kirk, pretty good wide receiver too. We're gonna see how he plays as wide receiver one. Zay Jones was a pretty solid wide receiver three. Like 500 yards as a wide receiver three on the Raiders last year. He's more of a deep threat, but that's good for Lawrence because there's nothing wrong with that. Evan Ingram, I mean, he was a Pro Bowler, 2 years ago? I maybe shouldn't have been because he drops everything. According to even Giants players complained about him dropping everything. Um, but you know, if they work out, then I'm pretty sure that the Jets, like this team, the Jags might be like a, like a 7-win team this year, while the Jets just aren't. They aren't quite there yet. The Jets are getting it better, but I think the Jaguars just got better a little bit faster, if you know what I'm saying. And then Seahawks, Jets. I think I don't think you lose to 3 bad teams in a row. That's what I'll say. I don't think you lose to 3 bad teams in a row. Well, I don't. Yeah, I just don't think you lose to 3 bad teams in a row. Like, I imagine you'll beat one of them. And I think the one with the worst quarterback, you gotta have a Drew Lock or Geno Smith. Yeah, good luck. At least Jared Goff was like serviceable last year, and Trevor Lawrence was not that great, but it wasn't that bad, and he's just predicted to get better. So I think it's really tough here for Seattle to actually win this one. Just because I think Seattle is really bad. Like, you might have good receivers and a good run game, but shoot, so does the Jets. And the Jets have more, ironically enough, they have more consistent quarterback play. I know it's Zach Wilson, but unfortunately, it's also Drew Lock and Geno Smith. You're lucky team. Go compete. And then week 18, you're playing Miami. Miami's competing for a playoff spot. They're gonna beat you, and they're just a better team. Especially, you're not gonna sweep the Dolphins. I doubt. So yeah, that ends that. I had the Bills going 14-3, and ironically enough, their 3 losses come from internal. I don't know if that's actually gonna be the case. I kind of feel like it's not. But I do think they go 14-3. I think that's a pretty reasonable record for them. Just I don't know if their 3 losses come from all divisional. Miami going 11-6 seems about right. I'm going 4-2, actually doing better in the division than the Bills do. But I think we have the Patriots going 6-11, 3-3 also in division, and the Jets going 4-13, 2-4 in the division. I think these seem about right. Like, this is about what I expected. So was the AFC North, really. The AFC North is also about what I expected. Like, when I set these records inside my head, like, I really, for Rams, I see about, like, a 13-4 record. Same about as last year. 49ers, 13-4, 12-5. Somewhere around there. I don't know. I haven't done them yet, but thinking about them, it's about what I would expect. And I'm going to do AFC South next. Colts probably 11-6, maybe 12-5. Not sure how their schedule looks. Jags probably about 7 wins. Titans about 10 wins. Texans, I don't even know if you get 3 wins. They're probably about 3 wins. Seems reasonable. So yeah, I guess there's the AFC East. Hopefully, honestly, I'm wrong, and the Patriots do a little bit better. I'm not a Patriots fan, but like, I don't know, bro. We go find out. So yeah, go find out if the Patriots can handle losing some of their key pieces. But yeah, AFC South will be next. I don't know if Pokemon or this is coming next, but I guess you guys will see. I will see you guys with the AFC South.